Welcome to the Only One Mic podcast called Gerard Brooklyn Dre. J-Rob's in the building. Justice off tonight. How y'all doing, fellas?
What's good?
What up, what up, what up?
All right, there you go. Had to check real quick.
What up, what up, what up?
All right.
What's good?
Got a couple of topics, man. Just a conversation tonight, fellas. Just a conversation tonight. Charles Barkley. You know, I know a lot of people are like going in on Charles for the statement that he made on the Don Lemon show that morning, the other morning or whatever. Cool. Yeah. But I'm surprised there was one thing they didn't take out that statement. You know, a lot of people was focusing on the fact that he said that, you know, black people are basically homophobic, right? I'm going to play the clip of what Charles Barkley said. I want you brothers to listen to this and give some context on it, because a lot of people, I'm surprised that a lot of people let this one slip, but thank God for us, right? All right, so here we go. Charles Barkley, this is on the CNN Morning Show with Don Lemon. Check this out.
It always has disturbed me as a black person, which really bothers me about the Kyrie Irving situation and the Kanye West situation. First of all, being black in America is already hard enough. And for us to go at other ethnic groups just makes things worse, because it's hard enough being black. And one thing has always disappointed me, black people treat gay people, we are the worst when it comes to treating gay people. And that's one thing growing up, it really always bothers me. And I want to reach out to you and all my gay friends, all my transgender friends, and tell you, man, I got nothing but love and respect for you. I understand being black, what it's like being gay, because you get mistreated, and it's really unfortunate and sad and stupid.
It's crazy.
The feminization of men, but black men in particular, is something that you're seeing more, the agenda being pushed towards our community, right? But for him to say that is the argument that has always been made from day one. How do you equate the struggle of the LGBTQ community to the struggle of black people in America?
It's so sad now that they're starting to make what's the situation with the gays, Stonewall or whatever it is.
Yeah, Stonewall.
They're trying to equate that to like Selma, Alabama, and all kind of other stupid garbage.
I don't even know what Stonewall is, and just the fact that they try to they have the audacity to say that, to even try to equate the two is just beyond me, man. I don't think that any type of gay person should be deprived of any type of rights or anything like that. You know, do whatever you want, live how you live, great, more power to you. But to actually say that, you know, it's equivalent to being black in America is just ridiculous and disrespectful.
Absolutely ridiculous.
And
it's really disrespectful.
When did Charles Barkley become the spokesperson and the cleanup man for any quote unquote missteps that black people make regards to other races?
It's ridiculous. Could you imagine if he equated homosexuality to the Jewish struggle, or, you know, any other culture, man? You know, he just put anything on us.
They'll take him off TV if he said that.
I'm gonna play something else from that, right? Again, since he's like the so-called quote unquote spokesperson for us now, you know what I mean, the cleanup man. I'm gonna play another portion of that interview, which was actually in the beginning of this interview, and I'm gonna get some context from you brothers on this one. So check this out.
This issue, you know, even as someone you're covering sports, but you're speaking out about issues that have to do with culture and society. Why so outspoken about this?
Well, Don, I don't like that word outspoken, because I hope anybody who sees racism in any form whatsoever should stand up, whether it's against a black person, a Hispanic person, a Jewish person, Asian. Asian hate's going a big deal in this country right now. So anybody should try to do the right thing. If you see something wrong when it comes to race or homophobic or sexist, you should always say something. So, I'm always going to do that. I don't care about the repercussions. If I see something wrong happening, Don, I'm going to say something.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Dude said Asian hate is on the rise.
But correct me.
I'm not saying that they don't have Asian hate, but come on.
Every ethnic group is going to face some type of violence. But correct me if I'm wrong, though, brothers. This man played in Philadelphia for how long?
Forever, man. He
Forever.
had a long
All right.
run. He had a long run.
Correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm saying this. Have you ever heard him address any type of gun violence within the hood and within the black community, the violence that we inflict on ourselves? But he's outspoken, though. And he just said, if I see something wrong, I'm going to address it. So I'm pretty sure he's watching the same news that we watch.
He ain't never addressed anything in Philadelphia, ever.
And he won't.
Sad.
And he won't.
He's a sad individual. You know, Charles Barkley, it just gets worse and worse over the years, though. The more he speaks, the worse it gets. The worse it gets.
Yeah, you know, it's crazy. I'm really disappointed in him, man, because I always been like, you know, let Charles be outspoken and outlandish and be brash. You know, that's who he was. That's what endeared him as a player in Philadelphia. But this cooning and buffooning got to stop, man. I guess when you get a certain amount of money and you be so far removed from everyday life of regular black people, you forget how it really is. I guess. That's the only thing I can say.
It could be.
Not to mention, I mean, even in that interview, I don't know if that you had planned to play this or not, but when he was talking about, Don Lemon said at the end of the interview, like, you know, Chuck was one of the first people that called him when he came out of the closet. Yeah, that was actually right before they started talking. I seen that and I was like, I was going to address it, but out of all the things that go on in this world for black people, that's one of the first things on your list to deal with. Like, hey, Don, thank you.
Exactly.
like, come on, man.
Meanwhile, when Chuck Ramsey pulled up them two little girls out from that pedophile's house,
right?
Nobody called Chuck a hero. Yeah. You know what I mean? Nobody said nothing about that.
Nothing.
You know what I mean?
Nothing to be said.
Nothing to be said about it. But I just think that was crazy that those two statements within that entire interview. I'm like,
but I mean, again, and I don't go against no race, but even to make that statement, like Asian hate is on the rise. Don't get me wrong, I'm quite sure Asians are being mistreated, just like any other ethnic group. But it ain't like you turning on the news every night and Asians are getting shot all over the world or anything like that. It doesn't sound crazy. Black people are getting killed on the news every night.
Every night.
Yeah, it just show you a sellout. The real definition of a sellout.
But I never understood that, brothers. Like, how in the world that these guys sit there? Anybody of any prominence, not just Charles Barkley, and you sit there and you don't address any of this stuff that's happening within the inner cities.
And then to talk about, again, going back to like, that whole cancel culture and everything like that. It's amazing that, how we, looking from behind the scenes with us, like, we were like, yo, we got to get on and do something about this. And, it's amazing that it's gone this far and nobody has said everybody let this slide past their radar that he's equating our struggle as African-American people. We're talking about slavery. We're talking about our struggle here in America to homosexual culture, if you want to call it that, or however you want to label it. You know what I mean? Like, that's absolutely ridiculous.
Now, do you think when people say these things, whether it be Charles Barkley or anybody, do you think that they just saying this because this is just the flavor of the month? This is what we say to kind of make it sound like, we supporting that community.
It's so bad. I don't even know what he's doing.
I can't comment.
I don't know.
It's just ridiculous. I feel really ashamed and disrespected that Charles Barkley would actually say something like that. As a black man, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on, dog.
Black man in America.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, forget about even America. The road trip over here.
Yeah.
The road trip over here, man. Black people for hundreds of years in the bottom of slave ships riding over here. You know what I mean? Even the point where I remember somebody was saying like how they used to have like trap doors in the bottom of ships because at times when the ships would get pulled over in different waters and whatever like that, they had to have a certain amount of slaves on the boat, and if they did, they could get fined or something like that, I was told. And then they would like release trap doors and just throw slaves off the boat into the water and all kind of crazy garbage like that. And you're going to equate that with homosexual culture? That's just like saying, like, what was it, Japanese and Hiroshima or whatever like that? Just equating their culture with, is it Hiroshima that they went through or whatever like that?
Yeah, Nagasaki.
Nagasaki. Equating that with that and just being like, yo, it's just like the struggle with Japanese, man. These people had the whole country exploded, man. You can't do that, man. It's absolutely ridiculous. Chuck ought to be ashamed of himself. And if they ever had a cancel culture, this is the one black people should get up on, man.
Yeah, man. He definitely need to be set down for a minute or something. Like,
we ought to title this cancel Charles.
He's not the representative for black people. You know what I mean? And that's what I was saying earlier. Just because you actually have some money some money in the platform, you shouldn't be able to be a spokesperson. That don't mean that your opinion is actually valid. You don't represent us.
You had a chance to drop squad one. Charles Barkley or Herschel Walker, who would you do?
Oh, Herschel Walker. He out of here.
Yeah, Herschel.
That nigga, man.
You had to drop squad one. Herschel Walker.
Herschel's high on the list, man. Herschel might be up there.
All right. Herschel Walker, Charles Barkley, Candace Owens. Who would you drop squad if you could?
Candace actually higher than Charles.
And I'm sorry for the listeners, if to put it in some context of what we're talking about, if y'all like, what the heck is Drop Squad? It's a movie I suggest you watch.
Yeah, man.
Was it a Spike Lee joint? Like
I think so. Yeah, or his brother. I think his brother actually did that.
One of them. I know it's a real obscure.
I think it is a Spike Lee joint.
Is it? I think so too, man. Yeah. Obscure Spike Lee joint where they would take people who were coons and they had an actual team of people called a Drop Squad, and they would go bag up these coons. Like I would call like 1-800 Drop Squad or something, and say,
"Go get him.
My man is cooning. He need to get re-educated." So they would take him to this little headquarters they had, man, and they would just re-educate him on black culture,
work them over,
and everything, remind them where they come from. So they like keep them strapped to a chair and play Malcolm or something like that.
Reprogram. It had to be reprogrammed.
Yeah, had to reprogram the Negroes.
Shout out to the Drop Squad. If you haven't seen it, go pick that up.
Yeah.
So you're saying Candace Owens is high on that list, or Herschel Walker? What are you saying?
Candace Owens is very high on that list.
I think Herschel Walker is on the top of that list. He's trying to make policies and laws. he got to go.
Wasn't he a Dallas Cowboy at one time?
Yeah.
That says a lot. It says a lot, man. Who knew this guy was this terrible, man? You know what I mean? Like, Herschel Walker's crazy. But Candace Owens, she is running a tight second, man.
I offer you a fourth option. Y'all know where I'm going with this. Kanye West.
Sad. I don't like Kanye and all this other stupid garbage, man, but I think all three of them are ahead of him.
Yeah.
I just think Kanye's stupid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Listen, yeah. I encourage you as the listeners. If that's the question for the listeners. I might have to pull a poll up or something. If you could drop squad somebody, right?
Yeah.
Any famous person that you could drop squad that you feel is cooning at this moment, who would you do? Put it in the comments, please. We'd like to check this out.
So, what we know about Kanye is that he says something. He says something that he doesn't read. He says he doesn't read, so he's regurgitating information. So he's just. I mean, to me, that's just somebody is kind of stupid. It's idiot. It's idiot, man. But
so he just needs re-education. It doesn't necessarily have to be just re-education. And
he's sitting around the wrong people.
I definitely would have to put all three of them higher. I don't know. Kanye might be ahead of Charles Barkley, but definitely not ahead of Herschel.
Charles Barkley said something regarding Adam Silver, where he said, speaking to Kyrie, he says I guess it's his version of Adam Silver speaking to Kyrie, saying basically if you're going to take my $40 million, you got to show me some respect, kind of garbage, and I'm like, first of all, Adam Silver didn't give Kyrie Irving $40 million. Kyrie Irving spent his time in, Jersey and them parks playing college ball and all the other stuff like that. And he earned $40 million, and I'm not a big fan. We always go back to saying I'm not a big fan of, what Kyrie was trying to promote, with this little, I don't even say promote, but I'm not a big fan of Hebrew Israelites. But again, when we talk about, whether it's freedom of religion and all the other stuff like that, I get kind of scared with that because, again, I have a religion and I don't want my religion to be stepped upon. So I don't agree with what he's doing, but on the same token, to say that the man doesn't deserve $40 million in basketball, it's the best point guard in the league. What are you talking about?
that did show you that's that house nigga thing where we sick balls. If the balls get sick, we sick.
Yeah. Actually, he said it on this show. He said something about we need to stop giving Kyrie Irving or something like that. I'm like, who's we? You ain't got to check in the NBA in years. You get paid from TNT. I'm assuming that the NBA ain't paying you no more. Who's we?
Yeah, it's really a shame that the fact that people become celebrity because they actually got money, and then their opinion matters. People give them a platform to where their opinion matters. And for real, Charles Barkley is not an educated person. He's not a person that's ever did anything but play basketball real well. So his opinion with everyday things shouldn't matter.
We sick,
man.
Our house is on fire. Our astronauts. To quote Malcolm, that's a Negro done lost his mind.
I just said they won't even let him on the plane.
Right.
But yo, speaking.
He said, our astronauts. That's a nigga that lost his mind. Won't even let him on the plane.
That's crazy, though. That's real, though.
That's real.
But yo, speaking of Kyrie, I wasn't even going to dive into this right away, man, because I want to get y'all opinion on the Jon Stewart interview. He says a few things in here, but there's one I picked out I want to discuss. Kyrie issued his apology the other day. So they finally got him. So I'm going to go ahead and play a clip from that apology. And then also we're going to discuss something else in regards to Kyrie, which, yeah, man, he jumped out of that one quick. But let's get through this one first, y'all. This is Kyrie's apology.
World, more fair world. We're all here to take it up in arms, I pray, and I hope. Because it's not just a solo act for me to try to take on the burdens of the world and change things. And I just got to be aware of that. So with all that being said, I just want to offer my deep apologies to all those who are impacted over these last few weeks, specifically my Jewish relatives, my black relatives, all races and cultures. I feel like we all felt the impact, and I don't stand for anything close to hate speech or anti-Semitism or anything that is going against the human race.
Hey, gotta tell you, man.
At the end of the day, what do you really expect him to do?
Oh, yeah, man. I said from the beginning, man. I told you when I saw it, I knew he was going to crack. It's coming, man.
And it's a shame, man, because, like, I wasn't the biggest Kyrie Irving fan. And, like, I kind of empathize with him because it's like we watched him castrate this man because of his beliefs.
Again, like I said, it's a slippery slope with that because, again, I don't agree, with some of the things that was on that documentary. I think a lot of it didn't make a lot of sense. I'm not a fan of the Hebrew Israelites. However, freedom of religion is a line that I dance on because, again, like our church is considered to be very controversial. You know what I mean? I want to pick up YouTube and watch my pastor. You know what I mean? I don't want them to take him off because, they don't agree with the scriptures. You know what I mean? So that's the dangerous line that we told on that. But, I know they was going to break him eventually. You know what I mean? You got to be truly convicted to what you're saying in order to stand in that kind of thing. You know what I mean? There's no Ali's out here no more,
You remember a few episodes ago we was talking about watching YouTube or watching Netflix and it keep promoting that Jeffrey Dahmer crap.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like
right.
we don't want to see that.
Right.
I mean, but it kept promoting it to us. You know what I'm saying? It's like we're watching our entertainment the way we want to have it, and this is actually being promoted to us. Now, should we feel some type of way against Netflix because now they're promoting this pedophile and cannibalistic lifestyle that Jeffrey Dahmer had? It don't equate. So the way that they did Kyrie Irving, it just makes no sense, and it's really sad.
Not to mention, even like and I think we're going to dive into this a little later, but it's like with the Dave Chappelle thing, man, like the SNL thing they just did. And it's like when it comes to black people, you can get on a soapbox and you can make as many jokes as you want about African American people.
Always disrespect black people.
You know what I mean? And you can talk about Rosa Parks, you can disrespect Martin Luther King, you can blackface, you can do whatever you want. But when you get on SNL and make, some jokes about the Jewish community, then
But you just made an interesting point. They made him apologize for the Hebrew Israelite situation. All right.
Right.
And, Dave did his thing and, now they're trying to say he's anti-Semitic. Right. How many jokes did they make about Jesus on SNL?
Oh, yeah. All kind of religion. Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, like, this is where we at. So it's like you afraid that you're going to hit a certain set and everybody has to apologize for that. But nobody ever apologized when that goes down. You know what I mean? How many times South Park did it? You know what I mean? How many times you've seen these things like that? And, you know, you never see, like, if I can use such a quote, the Christian community that says, all right, well, we're going to shut you down for doing this. Netflix itself had a movie like that where they was depicting Jesus as being gay. But what happens is they had a set, like, you know, like a lot of the Christians got together and was like, yeah, we can't have this. But you never really, it was like almost like a silent protest. It wasn't really big in the news like you'll see this here. But where does that line of offense stop at? Because if you can, if this is offensive to everybody, or if you say something against, you know, the alphabet community or you know, the Jewish community, and everybody's offensive and have to make apologies, where's the apology when you know, you disrespect my religion?
Yeah, there ain't none, because again, you're not a person. They disrespect us and treat us as the 3/5 of a person.
You know what I mean? But I'm not just saying in general, you know, Jay, of just, you know, in terms of black and white issue. You know what I mean? I'm just saying in general.
It's just sad, man, that, you know, the two most disrespected communities actually here in America, you know, is the Christian community and the black community. You know, we know spiritually we're powerful. When it comes to these other groups, like Jewish community, comes to the Muslim community, you know, a lot of people are scared to disrespect those people because there's violence. There's a possibility of violence. There's a possibility.
Salman Rushdie just recently in the news, man. The man done lost his sight and one eye, and they didn't kill him.
Stabbed him on stage.
Yeah, they didn't kill him. They've been trying to kill Salman Rushdie since like the 80s or so.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And you know they got close. They didn't kill him, but they maimed him enough.
Gave a good shot
to get the message. You know what I mean? The kids from South Park, they made a joke about the Prophet Muhammad, right? They have death threats on them since then, till this day. You know what I mean? So it's just like, where does the line get drawn? Who should feel offended and who shouldn't?
I'm offended every day.
That's what I'm saying. Like, why is it when other people is offended by how they feel, but I gotta sit and deal with all this, you know, nonsense that they try to feed to us,
pump down your throat.
Like, come on, man.
Does Jay Williams still have his job? I haven't seen Jay since that show.
Wow.
Yeah, man, since he put out his word, man.
If that's the case, the brother could be on suspension or a very long vacation, but either way, he put it on the line, man.
Yeah, Jay Williams, man.
Gotta salute him.
He said it. He said what he said so eloquently, you know, in the point that he was saying, like, when black people were disrespected, you know, by different cultures, ain't nobody forcing nobody to go see the Black Caucus or contribute money to the NAACP 250.
They're not letting you go to not the Slave Museum, but the African American History Museum in Washington. They're not letting you go see that. They're not gonna say you forced to go do that.
Yeah, you got to go get some sensitivity training.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
It's crazy.
I don't know Kyrie Irving. I don't believe he's anti-Semitic looking from the things that he does. He seems weird to me, you know, walking around the court with sage and all that other goofy garbage.
If anything, you need to apologize to everybody that purchased that Hebrews the Negroes. 3-hour PowerPoint that they called it.
Man. I don't even want to go into that, man. That's the most stupidest thing I spent time on in my life, man.
And money.
Know what I mean?
And money.
Yeah, the only reason I bought it, man, just so we could say we saw it or whatever.
Research purposes. That's all. Yeah,
man. Whatever you do, don't waste 3 hours and 28 minutes. You know, to figure it out.
$11.99 for that.
Yeah, $11.99 for that matter.
Wow. Get you a pizza, something. I don't know. I know the Hebrew Israelite, in quote unquote support of Kyrie, surrounded the Barclays Center during the Nets versus Grizzlies game.
Soft, man.
I did not know that.
Yes. Well, it was the Nets versus the Grizzlies. So you probably wouldn't know.
Yeah. Listen, hey, I'm gonna tell you this though. Listen to this here first. They done opened up a bad can of worms. Because it was like, I think that the Jewish community and the powers that be kind of look at the Hebrew Israelite as a weak organization.
They actually classified, and this is not, you know, me saying, but they actually classified as a hate group.
They're on the radar now.
Mm.
You know, before, like, you know, I heard a guy years ago, you know, he was a friend of Malcolm, and I was watching a documentary, and he was saying that when he was talking to Malcolm, he was telling him, like, yo, y'all can get on these, you know, these soapboxes and talk this black garbage and white devil garbage all you want. you know, he was saying that you can do that as much as you like, you know, that's no problem. But when you start, you know, forming, you know, numbers, and you got like 1,000 people showing up to an event, and then you start talking about economics and all that other stuff like that, that's when people start to take you serious. And that's the problem that they're going to have real soon. You're going to see everybody raise up. You're going to see the powers that be raised up on the purple gang real soon, man. See how serious are you about it after, you know, after they
was the boy Taharazat, was he out there?
I don't know. You know, I was talking to somebody earlier, man. I don't know if the purple gang and I don't know if it's two different sects, man, because Tazariak and them like to wear the leather, man.
Right.
They're the leather guys, man.
To walk around with the Black Adam bracelets on and all that.
Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you right now, man. And this is coming from me. This is coming from me, right? Yeah. Hey, let's get this out. Man. Let's get this out here, man. But let's get this out here, man. Actually, I have to say this though. I don't like none of their religious philosophy, but where they get this leather from is amazing. The leather straps on the arms and stuff like that, man. It's like,
they got good quality stuff.
Yeah, it's good quality stuff, man.
I just want to know, where did they get the whole outfit concept from? Like,
I don't know.
Where they get this from?
In the words of Busta Rhymes, real craftsmanship.
I know they see it in the magazine. Like, where did you come up with this
stuff from, man? Yeah. Like, what are you doing, man? They like watching old movies or something like that. Might have been watching what you call it?
Ten
Commandments, man. Find a few pieces in there. Just say, man, that look nice, man. Mix that up with a nice little ascot or something like that, man.
So with that, I'm gonna get you suckered, man. How do you use the bathroom with all that stuff on?
Hey, where do you get who goes out and they look good, you know, they look good doing it, man. Who gets a leather overthrow, man?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where do you get that, man? Just put that thing on it, just strap the leather around. You got the Wonder Woman leather the leather arm joint to go all the way up the elbow.
The sleeve.
Right.
Let's say this, man. Because somewhere down the line we probably gonna get some Hebrew Israelite hate, but let me tell you this, man. For you, his Hebrew Israelites start sending out letters and everything. First of all, I'm the person that's saying this. You know what I mean? That's number one. And I'm not talking no big talk because I'm not no tough guy and I ain't, want no fight or nothing like that. But I say this. This is that thing when I come with the Hebrew Israelite. Before you come talking to us about anything, man, go to your local synagogue with your purple gang, what's the name, and stand out there and get with them about this stuff, man. You know what I mean? Wow. Yo, I hate the fact that y'all slide past these synagogues and these cathedrals and mess with black people, man.
Right.
Yeah.
And y'all claim y'all so pro-black.
Right.
How about that?
They know they can't stand out there and talk that nonsense over in those places.
Yeah,
no.
I've watched you boys, because I know where you're from, in Brooklyn, and watch y'all pass them synagogues on Eastern Parkway, walk your behind downtown Brooklyn, and standing there and disrespect black people and white folk downtown Brooklyn. Go to the synagogue. It's right. I don't even know. I've been in Brooklyn for a long time, but this is the one they chunked me up in Jesse Jackson at that time, man. But
coming out of Vims with your bags, man. They want to hit you with some literature.
Yeah, because they like, a lot of them like to get on the internet, man, to send you these nasty letters and threatening letters and all the other stuff. Like, man, go to them synagogues first, man.
Yeah. Right.
Don't play around with us. Go to them synagogues.
I'm pretty sure. Some funds collected in the organization. Fly over to the Vatican. You want to go in? Go in.
Yeah.
But anyway, man,
take your shot. Yeah.
Shout out to the gangster World, man. I heard World before he got locked up in the federal prison. He went over there to Mecca and tried to get crazy over there. And
they shut it down.
Gangster World from Lafayette Gardens, man. I don't know how true it is, but they were talking to the documentary, saying he went there and told him he was God and all the other stuff like that. Live would have heard him getting him up out of Mecca, from what I understand. I mean, this is hearsay, so I don't know, man. But it's on the street kind of information. Man.
It's for street too.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, but if he did do it, I'm not saying I don't care about no religion but my own.
If he did do it, he's a legend. He's a legend for that.
Because he, this is the problem that I always say.
I don't know. He might still be locked up.
Yeah, he's locked up.
He's still locked up. Yeah,
he's locked up.
Yeah.
But the thing of it is, man, is like I said, I would respect a person like that because he actually believes it.
Yeah.
Right.
He actually believe it. I don't think none of y'all believe it.
Well, listen, we're gonna jump into
go down to them synagogues. Start at the synagogue first and work your way up.
Yeah. So right now they at the Barclays Center, right? So they supposed to be surrounded the Barclays Center during the Nets and Grizzlies.
Y'all gotta stop telling people that white people got tails, man. That's not gonna. It's messing things up, man.
Yeah. So yo, check this out, man. I'm gonna play Kyrie's reaction when a reporter asked him about this. Now
he knows his place there.
Yeah.
I can't even laugh at it, man.
Yo,
sad, right?
just listen to this, y'all. Y'all give me your thoughts on this when it's done.
Kyrie, there's a group of about 100 people outside wearing the shirt of a group called Israel United in Christ, a group labeled as a hate group by the Southern Poverty Law Center. They were outside in support of you and handing out anti-Semitic literature on the plaza, people walking by. And I was wondering if I can get your reaction to that.
I didn't see it. What happened? There was a group outside?
There was a group outside, 100, possibly more. They were wearing a shirt called Israel United in Christ. They're a group labeled as a hate group by the...
I think that's a conversation for another day. I'm just here to focus on the game.
Purple City Bird Gang. That's us. That Purple City Bird Gang.
Yo,
I don't know who them niggas is, but
I don't know nothing about that.
Let's reenact this. Kyrie, there's a bunch of guys outside with purple shirts surrounding. Do you know anything about that?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
If it is, I ain't seen nothing.
No, sir.
No, sir. No.
Kyrie get the far away from them as possible.
Yeah,
and you know what's funny? He got out of there, but he didn't throw him under the bus either. You know what I mean?
He played.
Have to deal with him later.
He electric slided.
He'll stand in front of that
conversation, man.
He'll stand in front of that Barclays Center forever.
The fact that they was out there and they asked that man about that, he don't know nothing about that.
It's funny. Yo, listen to if you listen to it, right?
KD or one of them funny dudes on that team probably can say, man, these cats downstairs.
your people outside.
You know the niggas that be up in front of the pizza spot on Schiphol Street? Man, they downstairs, about 1,000 of them.
Well, yeah, it's the way that he slid the question in that was funny.
Hey, Kyrie, there's a group of about 100 people outside wearing the shirt of a group called Israel United in Christ, a group labeled as a hate group by the Southern Poverty Law Center. They were outside in support of you.
Don't it sound like a 911 call?
About 100 niggas outside.
They're out there.
They have on purple shirts.
They're out there marching. They told me I had a tail. They told me that I have a tail like a pig. I don't have a tail like a pig, Kyrie. Yeah.
How would he know what's going on outside? He ain't there with you.
Nah, he know. They told him. They told him. Somebody on the end of the bench went to that McDonald's downtown Brooklyn, came back and said, hey, man, you know there's a bunch of dudes outside with purple shirts on and like little trinkets on the bottom of the shirt. They talking about you.
They coming to get you.
They talking about you.
Under any other circumstance, if you told me there was 100 cats outside.
That's funny. That's funny.
I'll see myself out.
Man, listen, man. I know the owner of that Brooklyn Nets, man, is about tired of this dude right here, man. You know what I mean? And the crazy thing about that apology that he just made, man, if you listen to the apology, it's kind of like saying, I need to stop. I need to stop worrying about what's going on in the world.
Yeah, but that's basically what it is.
I need to give up. In the end, the buck was broke. We broke him.
It's jacked up.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Hey, Kyrie's a wild dude, man. Let it go, Kyrie, man. Get the right fight. Get in the right fight, man.
Get in the right fight.
Get in the right fight, man.
All right, last topic on the table, guys. Jon Stewart was on the Late Show with Stephen Colbert some days ago, addressing this Kanye West situation, right? This time, Dave Chappelle as well. And and Kyrie Irving too. He was in the mix too. There was a lot of things that were said in this conversation, but he did say something that I wanted to play for you guys, man, and get your perspective on. So basically, he's trying to explain why black people would feel the way that they do in regards to the whole thing with, you know, Jews run the world and things like that. Where will we get this perspective from? Where will we get this thought from? So I want to play this for you guys, and then I want y'all to give me your opinions on it, all right? So this is Jon Stewart on the Stephen Colbert Show.
A black perspective. It's a culture that feels that its wealth has been extracted by different groups. Whites, Jews, things. Whether it's true or not isn't the issue. That's the feeling in that community. And if you don't understand that that's where it's coming from, then you can't deal with it. And you can't sit down with them and explain that being in an industry isn't the same as having a nefarious and controlling interest in that industry and intention, right? And that's been the anti-Semitic trope. But you need to be able to meet people from what their community is feeling as well.
I agree with him. And the fact of what he said, yes, I agree. Because of the simple fact that, yeah, he's talking about actually having a conversation, revealing truths of what actually is being felt by a particular community. If you feel this type of way, we can explain it to you and see why you feel that way. It kind of work against us because it's like, if we actually have an open line of dialogue, but you still spinning us, then what's the point? Because we know we're not getting to the truth.
He's downplaying the control that Jewish people have. And I'm not saying that, you know, I'm just talking from a New York perspective. I don't want to talk about the rest of the world perspective. I'm saying as far as like in New York, you know, we know that, you know, for such a small community of people, you know, this is a Jewish holiday, the city shut down, you know, in New York City. I don't care about it because you gotta understand and respect what they do. I mean, because as far as a people, they actually created this, you know what I mean? And I'm not, you know, not trying to, I don't have a racist bone in my body, but at the end of the day, when he says that you got to look at it from a black perspective, I mean, when black people look at, you know, Jewish community, they look at, you know, the Chinese community, all of these people come into the black community and kind of like suck the blood out of the black community and, you know, reap the benefits of it. You know, when you take a look at all of these, just the music industry alone, you know, most of these artists, whether it be past or present from the, you know, 50s, 40s, whatever, you know, none of these people ain't getting the, you know, the rights to their records and whatever. And then when you read who's getting that check, in most cases, it's from a Jewish person, the last name on that, you know, that's getting that check or their families reaping the benefits of it is more than likely, you know, Jewish people. Even in our own community where, you know, you have the Chinese and the Middle Eastern people, everybody's reaping the benefits of the black community. So again, and, you know, for us, you know, coming from the city, it just looks bad when it comes to the Jewish community. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's kind of what I took from that particular statement is that not just in the Jewish community where black people would get this, it's just like how many times you've seen, you know, the wig shop set up in your neighborhood, the Chinese restaurant, the things like that, you know, and these are not spots in most cases that are owned by African Americans, but, you know, it's put there for you to spend your money there. You know what I mean? And in the back end, not in all cases, but in some cases, in the back end, there's some disrespect that's involved even in those transactions of you purchasing from these places.
A lot of disrespect.
A lot of disrespect. You know, so it's not just like you said, it's not just the Jewish community that you're looking at, but communities as a whole. So what he's saying is that if you look at it from our perspective, this is a community of people who've pretty much been getting screwed over by every other community in the free world since day one. You know what I mean? Since you put your foot here. You know what I mean? And so when people say these things, this is why, you know, that person might feel this way. This is something that, you know, we know has probably been passed down from generation to generation You know what I mean?
You know, I had this discussion with my mom one time, man, and you know, I'm a 70s baby, so, and she had to remind me one time. At one time, she said, you know, the black community had stores, like, you know, it was black people in store, you know, it had stores within the black community. We come from Crown Heights, and, you know, I remember Sill, and I remember a lot of the different food spots and soul food spots and whatever, you know, and I mean, I don't even know if we got the answer to this question today. I'm like, what happened?
Zoning,
gentrification.
I mean,
yeah.
But I mean, they put a highway right or a parking lot right where that store was at.
Yeah, but you know, way before gentrification really popped off in New York, you know, with some pretty much the 90s, late early 80s, early 90s. Mm-hmm. Way before that, man, you know, the Chinese and the Middle Eastern people, all of them were already in there, man. You know what I mean? So,
well, I mean, we dealing with you know, a disenfranchisement, I guess if you can say such a thing, is that they have actually buried whole black communities.
Yeah, they have one in Central Park.
In Central Park, and, you know, Tulsa, and all these places that we can name. You know what I mean? There's several places you can name. But it just goes to show you, like, how even in that, man, like the neighborhoods are taken. You know, if you probably went back and could find a lineage of the people who was a part of that town that's buried in Central Park. You know what I mean? You would own Central Park.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You know, also think a big portion of that conversation is Jon Stewart is protecting Jon Stewart. You know, because he's a comedian
and his community.
Well, he's his community, but he's also a comedian. You know what I mean? So, and I think that's something that him and Dave and all of them run on, is that, you know, this is a joke. You know what I mean? And I think that's one thing that does hurt comedy now. Like, you can't, you know, a lot of this stuff ain't even funny no more because everybody's scared to.
Everybody's so sensitive.
Sensitive on, you know, on a joke, you know. So, look at SNL. SNL, to me personally, is trash.
It said like that with the one with Dave on it this past week. I guess it's about a week now. So that was actually the best one that's been on in, you know, a long time. And the thing that they were saying in a few articles that I read was like, the guest is funnier than the actual writers and performers on the show.
Right.
Listen, I told you this. I think I was in at my job one time.
That's what makes it funny, though.
I was at my job one time. Sorry, guys. I was at my job one time, and I think I called you, and I was like sitting there, and I just, you know how you just watching the TV or whatever the case may be, and you don't feel like get up and turning it. I'm sitting there watching it for like 40 minutes, man, and I'm like, SNL is trash.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know how they continue to put this stuff out. The only time SNL is somewhat funny is during election time.
Yep. That's what saves them. And the fact that they had Trump, they ate off Trump for all that time. Yeah.
They tore Trump up.
They can't do it no more. Well, the hope is that I think Lauren Michaels, I believe,
never know,
turning 80 or something like that, and it was kind of whispers that they might go ahead and end it when he turns 80.
If Trump did another term, they're gonna eat again.
Well, at this rate, because, you know, and I don't want to make it a conversation about SNL, but at this rate, SNL was an institution, and I think they should go ahead and just close the doors on that and let these new generation of people have their own thing that they understand, that I have no right to complain about. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't want to turn the conversation, but I was just saying that because it's like, you know, again, going back to all of this race stuff and, you know, different things. Like, everybody seems like they're on kid gloves with having just a regular conversation. You can't say nothing no more. This is a joke. Some things are just meant to be a joke.
So it's safe to say that, like, the Richard Pryors, George Carlins, and, you know, Dick Gregory's and everybody of yesteryear, man, probably wouldn't last a day in this generation.
Now, you know what? I can't say that because Jon Stewart and
Dave,
what's the other guy that he did the interview with?
Stephen Colbert.
Colbert, they have made a living by being outspoken and outlandish in the political arena.
And then we forget that you know, Jon Stewart and Dave and all of them is from that same era.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When they was young, they was out there, they was getting busy. You know,
look, I ain't gonna front, like, you know, I watched Stephen Colbert back in the day when he was on Comedy Central. Him and Jon Stewart.
Yeah,
they had their little shows back to back.
Daily shows.
Yeah, like, and it would be informative, but it would be funny, and they be saying some wild stuff in that political arena. You know what I mean? So for them to act like they haven't been on that line where they have said something that a lot of people might have taken offense to is crazy.
That's what
it's real hypocritical.
Stephen Colbert actually mentioned that in the interview. He was like, you said things that people didn't like. He said, as comedians, that's what we do. He said, not say things that people might take offense to. He said, you get like hundreds of people that's telling you. I'm just paraphrasing, folks, but you get like many people that'll tell you something that you said is offensive. But you're a comedian. You know what I mean? Your job is to look at, and this is not him saying this, but this is me, but your job is to look at it through a different lens, man. The eyes of a comedian looks at the world differently than you would. You know what I mean?
And even in that monologue that Dave gave, man, I mean, how else better could he say, like, I don't want no smoke with the Jewish community? You know what I mean? The only thing he did say in the what's the name, and I think this is what a lot of the Jewish people are taking the wrong way, is that he's not saying that they control the industry. He's saying that they yield a lot of power. They do yield some power, man.
They yield a lot. They yield a lot of power, and truth be told, they do.
And media,
they do control the industry. Let's stop it.
Folks, no, when I say, I don't got you, but folks, please do your research on the history of Hollywood and why.
Please do your research on what Hollywood actually means.
And in the interest of time, you're right. In the interest of time, I won't go into it, but look at the history of why Hollywood itself was created.
Yeah, but and I'm not saying that they don't. I mean, again, I'm not going off the cuff on that, man. I'm just saying that he actually was light in his explanation of it. Yeah. You know what I mean? He's basically saying, and he's like when he made the joke, I think he was like, I've been to Hollywood. Like, there are a lot of Jewish people there. You know what I mean? Like, what I mean?
Killed that, man. That was a masterful performance and monologue by Dave Chappelle.
His 15 minutes is better than most people's whole Netflix special.
Yeah, Netflix special. Yeah. And it's not even that it's funny, man. It's a lecture.
It's thought provoking.
Yeah, it's a lecture, man. So again, I thought it was all right, man. You know what I mean? Maybe I have to look at it again just to make sure. But to me personally, I thought it was classy, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not the worst thing he could have possibly said. In all honesty, I'll close it out like this, man. They've been gunning to cancel Dave since the closer. And I think it's one of those things like we got to find something, because most people stand with Dave Chappelle unless he does something outrageous. You know what I mean? Even Jerry Seinfeld was like, like we're comedians, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Well, again, they have like their own somewhat of a fraternity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where it's kind of like they got to say, listen, regardless of how crazy he said something, we got to ride with it, because I might mess around and say something nuts down the line. And I got to ride with it too. I mean, going back to my man Kramer when he.
Yeah, see, but that's the thing, right? like when other people to say things about black people, it's pretty much based in hate. Like what's being said about Jewish people, it's not really based in hate. It's like, yo, we see what's going on here, and we try to fight against the oppression.
I could pretty somewhat agree with that in a sense too, because again, we're going back to our own upbringing and our communities, man. We went to them stores and we bought coats from them Jewish people, who probably mistreated us when we were, purchasing things or whatever the case may be. We went to these Chinese and bought jewelry, and they talked to us like trash, and bought food from the Chinese restaurant, and they cheated us like trash and stuff like that. So again, man, this is, like he said, these are our experiences. You know what I mean? I'm quite sure that, white Caucasian people don't go to stores within their own neighborhood and get the same treatment that we get in our neighborhood from when we're spending our money with these different people.
Yeah, that's a fact, man. All right, so we're gonna get ready to wrap this up, but before I do, got to give a couple of recognitions that kind of missed the last episode, because we had a guest, and Katira Poland, thank you again for being on last week. It was a very good interview. It's
pretty good, yeah.
Shout out.
Sorry, I missed that.
I encourage you all to go ahead and check that out. You know what I mean? But for a few, we just want to give a few little recognitions here of supporters of the show. The numbers are steadily going up. I'm actually, taken aback how the numbers are going up in subscribership. So that means that somebody's listening. That's good. So, Unique Washington, Edward Wireless, Black King Rottweiler Incorporated, and let me see, I have Nubia Green as well. That's just a few we're going to do right now. So thank you.
Right.
Please keep listening. And again, in the comment section, if you could drop squad one person, leave it in the comment section. We'd be interested to hear your thoughts on this one. All right. All right. So with that being said, time for the sign out, guys. All right. So, any last words before we go, gentlemen?
That's us, that Purple City Bird Gang. That's us, that Purple City Bird Gang.
Oh, man.
We appreciate the subscribers and the viewership. I mean, keep doing it. Like, share, subscribe.
Please.
Yeah, keep doing that. Keep doing that. Y'all funny. The Only One Mic podcast is available on all major platforms that you stream your podcasts on. Also, check out our Only One Mic podcast YouTube channel to catch up on the past and current episodes. And as Jay said, please don't forget to rate the show, subscribe, and like, and all that good stuff. And you can get in contact with us on Instagram and Twitter at The Only One Mic P1, Facebook and LinkedIn at The Only One Mic podcast, and email us at theonlyonemic00@gmail.com, and there you can leave your comments. And once again, thank you for your time.
Go to the synagogue first.
Smash up the likes.
Go to the synagogue first.
Speak your truth quietly and clearly, and listen to others, even the dull and the ignorant, because they too have their story to tell. So until next time, please keep in mind that we never had to run from the Ku Klux Klan, so we shouldn't have to run from a black man. Peace.
Have that purple on me around the synagogue.
Get that, man. Just hit that like button, y'all. Smash up them likes. Smash up them likes.
Peace.